Welcome to the Inner Arena. I'm Coach Mo, your swag coach. And around here, we don't sugarcoat burnout, doubt, or that punk ass inner critic who's trying to hold you back. This is where high achievers come to reset, rebuild, and reclaim their swag, self awareness, why power, aligned action, and grit. So let's lace it up. It's time to train your leadership like it's game day, because it is.
All right. So today I'm going to talk to you about the number one underrated thing that leaders need or high achievers need that they do not have. That's a locker room. A locker room. Yep. You hear me say it, a locker room. So check this out. We watch sports. Sports is really big in our society between football, basketball, baseball, soccer, hockey, it doesn't matter. And all those top level players, guess what they have? Guess what they have? They have a locker room. They have a locker room. And what I mean by that is what happens in the locker room. What happens in the locker room, a lot of what happens in the locker room, she wants to get in the camera. What happens in the locker room is camaraderie, planning, game planning, a lot of things about support, rallying together. Those type of things happen in the locker room. And most athletes are high achievers. They're high achievers. And they work out, they plan, they work with their team, they go through ups and downs together, they win together, and whatever happens in the locker room typically stays in the locker room. That's when players are their most vulnerable. That's where they talk through their weaknesses. That's where they develop and they train their ideas of what they're going to do best when they get back in their game. And they have a coach, right? And various coaches that participate with them in the locker room that helps them like really reframe their mindset and just talk through a lot of different things that players are dealing with. So you're a high achiever, you're a leader, and you're trying to do it on your own. And that's where the locker room comes in. That's where the locker room. So I'm your swag coach. Self awareness, white power, aligned action, and grit. When players go into the locker room, they're working to get their swag back. So, as a leader, how are you working to get your swag back when you don't have a locker room? So, think about it. You do what you do all day, every day. You're carrying other people's weight, you carrying their burdens, you're doing going above and beyond as a leader, as a high achiever, and that shit starts to get exhausting, right? But who are you rallying with? You're doing it solo. So that's where the locker room comes in. And in the inner arena is where I created a locker room for leaders. The inner arena leadership. That's a space for leaders to take off the armor, get raw, get real, and get rep driven. And what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room, but it's a place where you can collaborate and talk through certain dynamics that you're dealing with and feel very open and very open to just discuss and come up with strategies to go back into the playing field. That's what the inner arena does. And inside the inner arena, I'm not going to tell you much about that, but what happens inside stays inside. But there's a lot of resources that I have available to work on your mindset, to work on that mindset, to practice, get those reps in, so that you can go back into the field, to go back into your high performing ways of doing things and lead under pressure. That's it. It's really that simple. But I bring this point up because most of us, most leaders don't have that. They're used to carrying the weight for everyone else. And that punk ass inner critic that I always talk about, that punk ass inner critic, guess what he's doing? He's telling you don't need a locker room. He's telling you that if you slow down, you're going to be weak. You're not going to be good enough. You're not going to be looked at the same way. Blah, 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 blah. And so your mind is naturally trained that I got to keep going. I got to keep going. I got to do this. I can't afford to do this. If I do that, then I'm going to be looked upon that way. And see, without a locker room, you believe that shit. And your swag. You don't have swag in that moment because you're listening to the inner critic. That self awareness, that wide power, that aligned action, and the grit is diminished. And when you're in the locker room, you become reminded of that. And not only do you become reminded of that, you're working with other leaders who have their swag, and they can help talk through similar dynamics of what you're dealing with. But here's the thing, the inner critic is probably working right now to tell you to stop watching this video, or you got something else more important to do to listen to what I'm saying right now. Rightfully, but that's what the inner critic does. It anything that can try to silence that chirping that you're not good enough, you need to do this, you need to do that. Anything that tries to offset that, the inner critic is going to try to defend it the best way that it can. And that's just the reality. Whether you believe me or not, it's just the reality of what happens. A locker room allows you to collaborate with other people, other high achievers that's dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with. Because the reality is, as you show up day in and day out, you feel as though you're the only one that's dealing with this. And then the inner critic is telling you, that punk ass inner critic, man. He's telling you that you should not be sharing what you're dealing with, because if you're sharing what you're dealing with, people are going to have a different narrative of thinking about you. But the reality of it all is no one else is thinking about you because they got their punk ass inner critic that they're dealing with. And they're all wrapped up into their shit. So you learn this in the locker room, in the inner arena. And then we got certain reps, certain tools that I just drop on you for you to try and for you to get involved with. And if you go to the inner arena leadership.com, go there, you'll be on my website. And in that site, man, it just have information about what the locker room is and what the membership is. And I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just trying to create awareness that the best of the best in athletics, they have a locker room. And in that locker room, they take off the armor and they share their ups and downs of everything of what they're dealing with. And they find strategy to overcome it. Where's your locker room? Where's your locker room? And the locker rooms that, let's just say you do have a locker room, kudos for you. And that locker room can look like a therapist, a friend, a family member. That's great. I applaud you. I really do. And this isn't me trying to sell you on some shit. I'm just trying to keep it real. And when you think about the context of how we lead ourselves day in and day out, I'm just saying one key benefit would be to have a locker room, a space where other high achievers just like you, going through similar things just like you can get ideas, tips, and just come together and talk strategy and learn reps of how to reshape your mindset. Not that your mindset is bad, but reshaping and taming that punk ass inner critic. because we all deal with it. We all deal with it. I deal with it. I'm not immune to it. So check it out. The inner arena leadership. Just start there. Or download my swag cheat sheet. That's a starting point. And you can get that at the inner arena leadership.com/cheat sheet. And that's a starting spot for you, but you need a locker room. If you're a high achiever and you're trying to take that next level, get to that next level, locker room, locker room, locker room. Get you a locker room. That's it. And I'll catch you on the next round.
You just got to rep in the inner arena. Don't let that stop here. Leaders build muscle with consistent reps. So hit the subscribe or drop a comment and share it with someone that's grinding but running on fumes. And if you're ready to go from survival mode to beast mode, grab my free swag cheat sheet. It's got you, and it's in the link below. Remember, the best way is to get out of your own way. See you in the next round.